Very simply, we invest because it puts our money in a position where it can work for us, instead of us having to continue to work for it. When we're investing money, it's reasonable to expect that it will have a higher value in the future than it does now. Being able to grow our money really matters for two main reasons. One, our money needs to outpace inflation to maintain its value. And two, we need to build wealth. Inflation is the increase in the price of goods and services. Inflation in Canada is typically around 2 to 3% annually, but just like the rest of the world, we've definitely felt the impact of higher inflation over the past number of years. Here's how it works. Markets operate on the simple premise of supply and demand. The more something is in demand, or the less there is of it, the more it costs. While the less something is in demand, or the more of it there is, the less it costs. If you're the only person that owns a really rare thing, you'll have a lot of people wanting to buy it from you, increasing the price that they'll pay. Whereas if you're trying to sell the same thing as everybody else, you're going to have to discount it if you actually want to sell it. Over the past few years, the inflationary pressure that we've experienced has mostly been due to supply chain issues. When the COVID pandemic forced employers to reduce staff or even shut down workplaces completely, the world suddenly had less stuff available to buy. That led to what was available being sold at increased prices because there was more demand. We live in a global economy, meaning that we consume products and services from all over the world. A lot of the goods may come locally, like services and produce, but a lot of the manufactured goods we use come from all over the world. When major factories were shut down for an extended period of time, it was felt around the world. An easy way to think about it is something that we all use: oil. When the price of oil increases, we see that reflected in things that we expect, like the price we pay at the pump for gas. But it also impacts things we might not think about. When gas prices increase, businesses that use gas either need to increase their prices to offset the increased price of gas, or be okay with less profit since they will be paying more than expected for gas. What usually happens is the former. Increased gas prices can impact the cost of shipping and delivering goods, the cost of running construction projects, producing and shipping the food that we eat, manufacturing, transport and airplane tickets, and so on. Typically, increased prices result in decreased spending in other areas. Since everything is connected, the impacts of inflation are felt everywhere. Now, inflation sounds all doom and gloom, I get it, but normal inflation is actually a necessary thing, and it's a sign of a healthy economy. Inflation works in a self-reinforcing cycle. When the economy is healthy and strong, unemployment is low, meaning that a lot of people have jobs and are earning money. When people have jobs and are earning money, they typically spend that money. When people are spending money, it creates more demand for the things to spend that money on. This allows companies to increase their prices. When companies increase their prices, it usually leads to increased profits. Then their employees typically demand more pay, once again earning more money to spend. This cycle continuously repeats until it's interrupted. A healthy economy relies on consumer spending. It can get really complicated, but at its simplest, an economy measures what and how much its people spend. So why is inflation good? If prices are continuously but sustainably increasing, it encourages people to buy the things that they want sooner than later. This keeps businesses producing products and services, which keeps people employed, which leads to people continuing to earn and spend. This goes on and on and on. If we're looking at the opposite of inflation, deflation, it would be a period in time where prices are dropping, so businesses have less to spend, meaning that less people would have jobs, and those people that do have jobs would likely be making less. And if you know that prices are dropping, there's no need to rush to buy the things that you want but don't need. You might as well wait. Deflation is also a self-reinforcing cycle where everything just continues to get worse. So as much as we might dislike inflation, normal inflation is good and a necessary thing. Since we know prices of goods and services have to increase moving forward, if our savings and investments aren't at least keeping pace with inflation, our money is actually losing buying power. Let's say that we have $100 to spend and we're going to spend it all on a new pair of sneakers, but we decide to wait until next year to spend it. If our money doesn't grow at all, but inflation increases by 2.5%, then next year those same sneakers will cost $102.50, making them out of our price range. It might not seem like a huge deal from year to year, but because of compounding, normal inflation can make the price of things double about every 30 years. If we aren't investing in growing our money, we're actually losing it. If time is our most valuable resource, investing removes the financial burden from our time. Of course, we can't spend 100% of our time doing exactly what we'd like to do, but we would like to be in a position where we can maximize our free time. Investing can make this possible. Let me show you what I mean. Let's imagine that our mutual friend, Bob, needs to accumulate $1 million in order to live his dream retirement, and he's currently 25 years old, so he has 40 years to do so. If Bob doesn't earn any return on his savings, he'd have to contribute the entire $1 million, or an average of $25,000 per year, or $2,083 per month. That is quite a lot of money to try to save on top of all the regular costs he would have along the way. Instead of simply saving, if Bob were to invest and earn an 8% annual return, the amount that he would have to contribute plummets. Instead of having to contribute the entire $1 million, or $25,000 per year, or $2,083 per month, Bob would only have to contribute $298 per month, or $3,574 per year, or $142,969 in total, to reach that same $1 million mark 40 years from now. He would only have to contribute about 14% of what he ends up with, meaning that he would have an extra $857,031 of his own money to spend along the way, instead of having to keep it all tucked away in his retirement fund. That's an average of $21,425 per year for 40 years. That difference becomes magnified if we assume the majority of it would be from after-tax dollars. For the majority of people, that is a life-changing amount of money, the equivalent to a major raise or working an additional job. That in itself is enough of a reason to give us to invest, but that's only half the benefit. Investing works during our accumulation phase, but it also works on the way down, when we're decumulating. Let's assume that Bob is healthy and will spend 30 years in retirement until the age of 95. If he doesn't ever invest, and we divide his $1 million over 30 years, he would be able to withdraw $33,333 per year. So in this case, he spends every penny he saved. If Bob instead invested and moved into a more conservative portfolio when he retired, let's assume he earns 4% annual return during his retirement. Instead of only being able to withdraw $33,333 per year, he's able to withdraw $55,606 per year, or $1,668,180 in total over the 30 years of his retirement, which represents a 67% increase. Investing allows Bob to turn $142,969 of contributions into $1,668,180 of future retirement income, which is an increase of almost 12 times. Put another way, investing allows Bob to contribute 86% less, but over his retirement gets 67% more. Regardless of how we look at the numbers, it is an incredible difference. There's no other way to put it. This brings us back to the idea of wealth and that time is our most valuable resource. Having to save the entire $1 million would have required extreme financial sacrifice, or getting another job to make it realistic. Either way, it would have put Bob in the position of spending less of his time how he'd ideally like to spend it. By simply investing, it created significantly more financial benefit while needing him to contribute significantly less, ultimately allowing him to spend more time aligned with whatever he values most. The total financial benefit ends up being over $1.5 million, and likely tens of thousands of hours. This brings us to another big idea, that properly investing isn't just about trying to optimize a specific part of your life, like retirement, but that it has a potential to optimize every aspect of it. Investing allows Bob to contribute almost $860,000 less than not investing at all, while having almost $670,000 more income during his retirement. All that benefit with 86% less effort. It's actually mind-blowing, but the numbers are correct. Investing correctly not only makes the destination more probable, it makes the journey to get there better in every way. It can allow us to live our dream life the entire time. The best part about this example is that it's an example that more closely reflects the average situation than the extraordinary situation. $300 per month can be a lot of money, of course, but it's by no stretch of the imagination an unrealistic number. For most households, in fact, I'd bet that a lot of people watching this course can contribute significantly more than $300 per month. It just goes to show the power that a little bit can have over a long period of time. So to continue my answer that I started this lesson with, by putting our money in a position where it can work for us, it can turn our wildest financial dreams into a future reality. It can provide financial security and the freedom to pursue what we value most. It can provide our loved ones with the resources to explore any opportunity that comes their way. It can provide us with a peace of mind knowing that whatever happens will be okay. We invest because investing can turn average inputs into extraordinary outcomes.